Hi, listener. In this video, we're going to listen to some real horror stories from a few Reddit articles that I've linked to in the comments. Feel free to contact me in the comments to share your horror stories. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror stories. Thanks for watching. A girl was heading back home from her part-time job at night. It was a particularly hard night, and all she could think about was heading home. Going past a dark alley with a flickering street lamp, she was startled by the ringing of her phone. She pulled out her phone to a message sent by her boyfriend. It read, "What's up?" The girl replied back with, "Heading back home from work." After she sent the message, there was a bit of a gap before her boyfriend replied, "Can I see you tonight?" The girl was really tired and was not in the mood to meet with her boyfriend, so she replied, "Let's meet tomorrow. I'm really tired." There was a pause, and then a reply, "Okay, good night." The girl arrived home and quickly took a shower to go straight to bed. But before she jumped into her bed, the phone rang again. She looked at another message from her boyfriend that read, "Whatever happens, don't let me in." The girl didn't know what the message meant. Was her boyfriend coming over? Why would he tell her not to let him in? Was he drunk? She texted him back, asking what he meant by it, but there was no answer. She tried calling, but the phone was turned off. Now suddenly she was completely awake and now uneasy, with an eerie feeling that something was amiss. Just as she was wondering about the message, she was startled by the ringing of the doorbell. She walked over to the door. Usually she would just open the door straight away, but this time something stopped her from doing so. She was too taken back from that one message sent by her boyfriend. With a careful voice, she called out, "Who is it?" No answer. "Is that you?" she asked, thinking it may be her boyfriend. Then a slow and low-toned voice answered from the other side of the door. "Yes, let me in." There was something strange about his voice. It didn't sound like her boyfriend at all. The girl moved closer to the door and peered through the security hole on the door. On the other side, she saw her boyfriend's face closely leaned towards the security hole. "I can't see you properly. Can you take a step back?" There was no answer. "If you lean too close like that, I can't make you out properly," she said again. Then that low voice came back. "It's me. Let me in." The girl was lost in thoughts. She can see her boyfriend through the security hole, but something wasn't right. It was as if he didn't want her to see the whole picture and trying to cover the hallway with his face. The girl was now scared. "I don't want to see you tonight. Please go home," she said with an ounce of courage that she mustered up. But the low voice replied, "It's me. Let me in." Slowly, a cold shiver swept and terror sunk into the girl's heart. Without hesitation, she dialed 911 and shouted, "I'm calling the cops!" There was no answer. The girl waited for the cops to arrive, but that low voice came again. "It's me. Let me in." The girl now was frantic and couldn't hold herself from shaking. "The cops are coming, so go away!" she screamed, hoping he would leave. But the cold, low, and calm voice came back. "It's me. Let me in." It seemed like hours until the cops did arrive. But when they did, they urged her to stay inside the house. But the frantic and angered girl rushed out to confront her boyfriend. But what she saw was only his severed head lying on the floor in front of her door next to a bloody text that read, "Shame, I was so close." When I just turned 12, my mom, my aunt, and I had gone to an amusement park for my birthday. The weather on this day was about 103 degrees Fahrenheit. We'd been going on rides for about 3 hours and I was having a blast, but I was starting to feel a little dizzy. My vision was getting bright and it was getting harder to see. I didn't know what was happening to me. Being an idiot, I didn't tell my mom. I just said I needed to use the bathroom. When in the bathroom, some guy came in behind after me and went in one of the stalls. Not thinking too much about it, I tried to splash some water on my face, but knowing it was an amusement park, only one faucet worked. and it had a weak and hot stream. Wiping my face off as best I could with what was given, I went back to my mom to get on as many rides before they closed, but the same guy from before came out seconds after I left. 30 minutes or so go by and I start getting dizzy again. I tried going on one ride with my mom, but just looking at it alone got me very dizzy. I told my mom I didn't want to go on this one, so she went on because it was her favorite. So my aunt stayed down with me because I used to like wandering. Trying to focus on my mom on the ride, I got really dizzy and threw up over the rails. When the ride was over, she came down and saw what happened. She asked if I was okay or if we needed to leave. Why, I didn't tell my mom still confuses me, but again, I just told her I just needed to use the bathroom. And I really wanted to stay for the full day pass because we barely ever went. In the bathroom, I rushed to the toilet and threw up in it. I flushed it down the best I could as I slowly walked to the sink to wash my face and clean the puke out of my mouth. Someone rushes by me, and I hear the bathroom stall behind me open and close at an extremely fast rate, ignoring it since I was trying to get the puke taste out of my mouth. I started to feel watched, so when I looked up in the mirror to see if I had puke on my face, I saw something peculiar behind me in the stall as I slowly realized. It was some guy, probably the same guy from before. He was in the stall looking through the crack of the door, just watching me. When he saw that I was looking at him through the reflection, he jumped and tried acting as natural as you can be in a bathroom stall. I just rushed out, and when I came out, he came out shortly after, all calm, like I'm pretty sure my mom was catching on this time because she kept me close and kept looking back anxiously and paranoid. And my aunt and I went on 3 more rides before I went to my mom and said, I really have to use the bathroom. This one was serious. I actually had to go because I hadn't really gone the 4 hours we had been there, and I didn't go before we left the house. So my mom said, sure, but make it quick. Finally, as I'm using the bathroom, I'm by myself for about 2 full minutes before once again I hear the bathroom swing open with a slam against the wall. I heard footsteps slowly walk towards the bathroom stalls. In an act of fear, I lifted my feet above the gap so he couldn't see my feet in the stall. But he just kept walking really slowly until he come right in front of my bathroom stall. I feel like he knew I was there. I just kept my feet up in case I'm wrong. 30 seconds go by. I can hear him breathing on the door for what feels like years before he turns and walks away. Without thinking, I drop my feet and finish using the bathroom. At this point, I think he's gone, so I flush and begin to leave. As I go to unlock the stall, I stop to look through the crack the same way he did, only in horror to see him standing in the corner of the bathroom right next to the urinals, just standing and looking near the stall I'm in. My heart pumping as hard as ever now, mainly in confusion on why someone would be waiting for me to come out. In my head, I think, maybe he just really likes this stall. I wasn't really smart then, especially when now I realize I was very dehydrated and tired for running all day in 100+ degree weather. It didn't look like he was going to snatch me up. He just smiled and stared for some reason. Back then, I didn't know what a pedophile was, so I just bolted out of there and told my mom I want to go home now. She was relieved I had said that and rushed towards the exit. On our way out, my mom decided to give me a piggyback ride. Only this was an extremely fast ride to the exit. She was practically running. My mom told the security guard something as she put me down so I could walk. When we were in the car, she was breathing really hard and acted extremely relieved when we left the parking lot. My mom told me later when we were home that she noticed the guy the second time I went to the bathroom, that he was practically 6 feet behind us the whole time we were there and only seemed to follow me from behind when I went to the bathroom. She also told me she was trying to leave as fast as possible because he was still following us. And she told the security guard to stop him because he was acting extremely creepy and following us. I was a little tense when I heard about this, but what I regret the most is I still haven't told her what I saw and experienced when inside the stall. I was at my grandmother's house helping my grandmother move furniture around. She became my mother figure after the death of my mother when I was a young child. And I had been staying with her ever since my car accident. My grandmother helped nurse me back into health. So I made an effort to alleviate her of any and all physical tasks. I felt it was the least I could do. It was in the attic when I accidentally knocked over a box. The box was filled with VHS tapes, with the farthest dating back to 1990. All that was written on them was the year. There was a TV in the attic as well because we used the attic as more like a functioning room than a storage space. So I decided to play the oldest tape. I expected to see happy memories, home videos, scenery, anything other than this. The video starts with whoever is holding the camera, filming a woman sitting alone at a small table at a coffee shop. She's reading. The camera was zoomed in on her hair glowing in the light, fixed. The tape then skips to a new setting in what looks like downtown Chicago somewhere. I can see the back of the same woman from before, walking down the street, oblivious to the person trailing and filming behind her. The sky is now a dark gray. I can see lights from passing cars glinting off her shiny boots. The camera is clambering and rubbing up against the jacket of the cameraman. He or she's not far from her, but is far enough away to show that he or she's not with her, clearly stalking her. The scene lasted maybe 5 minutes of the monotonous walking until it shifted to the woman now bound and stowed in the trunk of a car. She was taped up, unable to speak. All I could hear was the sound of heavy rainfall, accompanied by her screaming and crying. Her muffled panic broke my heart in two. My spine became frozen. I couldn't open my eyes any wider. Any moment, the film could shift to something so much more grotesque, so morbid, so life-changing, and I could do nothing but watch in horror. I saw a black-gloved, covered hand sprout from behind the camera, slam the trunk door closed, trapping her inside. It's now clearly night. The next scene skips to the woman, now beaten and bloody while tied to a chair. The location looks to be a warehouse somewhere, the only light coming from a single fluorescent bulb above the woman, illuminating pools of crimson-red blood at her feet. The camera is steadily held, so much that it seems to be propped up by a stand. I can hear the poor woman moaning in pain underneath the tape covering her mouth. I can also hear something shifting around on the concrete, like someone adjusting their stance. It seemed manic. I could hear clambering of metal, like tools being packed or unpacked from a bag. My stomach now fully turned. The stalker then walks into frame, showing only his back. His head was completely covered in a balaclava. He carried a blade in his right hand. My heart completely halted. The stalker held her drooping head up, tilted her face upward, and began to slice her throat from her left ear all the way to the right. She squirmed and gargled in her desperate and useless attempt to survive. I had never seen so much blood in my life. The killer then takes off his mask and stares into the camera, flashing a toothy grin. The film then abruptly stops. I was held in place by my now shot nerves. My blood slowed into stillness, completely discoloring my body into an almost corpse-like white. My grandmother was watching me. She shakingly tried to console me from across the room, struggling to form words through the river of tears streaming down her face. She said she didn't want me to ever be reminded of who I was before my accident.